I think one of our sales guys, Ali, put a post on LinkedIn the other day. He worked it out for us that the impressions we get as a team, so there's probably like 6 or 7 of us that are very active on LinkedIn on purpose. The impressions we get would have cost us something like 150 grand if we would have gone to an agency or something. And that hasn't cost us anything. So, we've got a marketing budget, but we can do so much with nothing just because of all of our presences on LinkedIn.
So Nick, you ran a business called DesignMyNight. You started that when you were 25 years of age. You did that business for 7 full years. You then sold that business to a UK unicorn, the Access Group, for a reported figure of around £30 million. Mm-hmm. You split those winnings with your co-founder, Andrew. Today, you've left that business and you run a business called Trumpet. Mm-hmm. Tell me about Trumpet.
So Trumpet is in the sales space. It's a buyer enablement tool, which is a new trend in sales that's really happening this year, which is about making the buyer journey easier. And if you make a better buyer journey, more people are going to buy from you. If you think in sales, we've been focused on tools to make salespeople better, outreach tools, LinkedIn Navigator, recording tools. So we're actually thinking about the buyer journey rather than the salesperson. And a salesperson can spin up microsites, digital spaces where you can put all of your content in, all of your customer stories, you can personalize them and create one space between you and the buyer. For the whole buyer journey. So it also cuts out the hundreds of emails to get a deal done, basically.
Again, if I go from like a naive point of view, pitch deck mm-hmm. or a pitch deck mm-hmm. is your standard form of please buy my product or service. I send you an email, attach a file. Obviously, I know that I have then no knowledge of if they're viewing it, etc. And I know Trumpet does that. Mm-hmm. But do people actually click on the link? Are they using it?
Yeah.
Are you seeing good feedback from that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main questions is, when you send it to a buyer, are they going to click on it? And we live in this world where everything's digital. We use Google Docs, Notion, all of these tools where you collaborate with people on a tool. And we say the best use case for Trumpet anyway is after the first call. So when you've had a demo or a call with them, you say, look, I'm going to follow up with this digital space, and this is where we're going to get the deal done together. So then instead of doing a long follow-up email with all your bullet points, your deck attached, your customer testimonials linked off to YouTube, you actually just say, thanks for the call today, here's our digital space, and then they'll click on that link, and they don't have to download Trumpet or anything like that. So they just click the link, and then they've got this beautiful space to work in.
Yeah, amazing. So I know you get a number of your leads from LinkedIn, but is it the ultimate sales tool within the ultimate sales tool where someone sends it to a potential client, they use Trumpet, they like using Trumpet, and then they want to use it?
Yeah, it's a good point. So yeah, we've got this one of our sort of metrics we track, which our VCs are very keen on as well. It's our viral loop. It's like DocuSign. If someone sends you something to sign, you sign it, and then it all pops up saying, do you want to use DocuSign? We're not as brash as that, but a lot of our users have come from customers. So one of our theses internally is, if we can just get as many salespeople sending out, we call them pods, Trumpet pods into the world, we're just going to get more customers back. So that's why we don't limit the number of pods you can use on any of our plans, because we actually just want as many out there in the world.
Awesome. Obviously your knowledge about Trumpet is going to be amazing. It's your business. A lot of people may assume that when you move away from a business after a good exit, a valuable exit to you, more money in the bank account, it's always nice. How involved are you?
Very. I think we made that conscious decision when we sold DesignMyNight, Andrew and myself, still relatively young in the grand scheme of things, and it was COVID actually. So we were like, well, what are we going to do? What do we love doing? What is our purpose now? You're too young in your early 30s to start retiring. So yeah, we said, look, we love building startups. And then we were ideating, and we had about 4 or 5 ideas, and when we kept going with Trumpet, and we thought, yeah, we're onto something. What we've done differently is we've brought in a third co-founder.
Right.
So Rory, who we knew approached him with sort of the bones of an idea, which he loved. He's been in the sales game his whole career. So he's CEO. So we've sort of taken the pressure off ourselves in terms of like the heavy lifting, the day-to-day. We've allowed ourselves to focus on what we love, which for me is marketing and sales. So it actually allows us to use our skills more rather than being bogged down in the day-to-day running of a business.
Got you. And you didn't fancy the worldwide travel post-exit?
We were going to, but I was locked in my lounge for 2 years. So that's when we started Trumpet.
Best thing to do is go back to work.
Start again, yeah.
Awesome. DesignMyNight, we were talking off camera, lots of things to keep you up at night. Mm-hmm. Every time the phone rang or buzzed, you weren't sure if it was, a family member checking in or if it was the whole site's come crashing down at 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. Trumpet, now, today, what keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? Well, I think my brain as a person is very active. That's why we keep coming up with loads of ideas and for Trumpet and for future businesses. That's how my brain works. I'm always ideating. So nothing keeps me up at night in terms of panic, like DesignMyNight, which is good. It's more just, ideas like, okay, what could we be doing better? What marketing strategies could we be doing that we're not doing? What have I learned that day from maybe other companies I've seen that we could apply to Trumpet? So it's more just constantly thinking how we can be better. And that's just how my mind works. It's always sort of alive.
How do you stop yourself from going down the magpie effect? Most entrepreneurs get distracted quite easy, shiny object syndrome. Yeah. I know I do. Yeah. It's quite hard sometimes to stay focused. Yeah. I feel often the good entrepreneurs stand out from the okay entrepreneurs, that they can focus. Yeah. How do you do that?
Well, I think that was one of our biggest learnings. I often get the question, okay, what did you learn at DesignMyNight that you've taken to Trumpet? That was one of them. So, as you say, not to get distracted. We know what we need to do with Trumpet. We know what we need to execute. We know what the product needs to do that it doesn't do now. So we're just very focused on doing all of that. Whereas, DesignMyNight, as a first-time founder, it's networking and partnership opportunities and new product ideas. And we probably made a few mistakes in like the first 3 years of DesignMyNight, which slowed us down. So we were very focused with Trumpet that we were not going to do that. So there's not a skill. It's just telling yourself to stay focused and just reminding yourself if you are getting distracted.
Absolutely. So not so long ago, although it may feel like it, you were at L'Oreal. Mm-hmm. You then stepped into your entrepreneur journey. The old question, or maybe it feels like an old question these days, corporate or startup to become an entrepreneur? Yeah. What is the best route?
I don't think there is a best route. I think the corporate world is often maligned at the moment, but I loved working at L'Oreal. It was straight out of uni. As you can imagine, it's a very young, fun company to work at. It's a pure play marketing company. Yes, it's a beauty company, but there's only so many ways you can repurpose a mascara or something. It's how they market it. So I just learned there. I got my head down, learned marketing properly. I did languages at university, so I never did marketing per se. So I learned, marketing. I learned to manage a P&L, a budget, a marketing budget, manage a team, look at better managers, how they managed me as well. So I just took all of that learning into DesignMyNight. I often see founders come straight out of college or university or whatever, have an idea, get given VC money, and no wonder it goes wrong most of the time. They have never managed a budget, they've never managed people, they've never had a strategy.
They've got a great idea.
They've got an idea, but execution, as everyone knows, is the main thing. So I always encourage young founders to give it a go. But for me, either corporate was a great grounding for me, or if you're just love the startup world, go and work for a startup, see how it actually works, tell the founder you want to learn, and sort of cut your teeth somewhere, I always say, before jumping straight in.
Because I dove in. I had the grad scheme opportunity from an IBM, or the 5-person startup in motorcycle training. My mum thought I was bloody crazy, but I did choose the startup route. And I do wonder, of course, what would it have been like if life had gone the other way, but no regrets for sure. Talking about no regrets, you've invested in a ton of startups post DesignMyNight, 60 or so, by my understanding, between yourself and Andrew. Which one, if you had to pick one, do you think is going to have the biggest impact on the world or their space? Question one. And question two, which one's going to have the biggest impact on you?
Oh, God, you caught me on the loop here. They're all my babies and I all love them equally before I answer that question. God, biggest impact on the space. So yeah, there's one called Honest Mobile. So that's two great founders, Andy and Josh, and they looked at the telco industry. How many people do you speak to love their telephone provider? None,
Not many.
Probably. So they sort of took the Monzo effect to telco. So, it's all eSIM, it's very forward thinking. You can manage all of it in an app. You actually save money as you stay there. They don't put your bills up. So they've just sort of looked at telco in a totally different way. They're doing really well. Got some good backers as well. So I think they're sort of
including you,
including me, they're better than me. So I think they're I think they'll have a huge impact on the space. Impact on me, not personally, but learning wise, I invest in one called PubX, which is actually in digital advertising, and it's a space I knew zero about. Met the founder who had been in digital publishing space for like 10, 15 years. And I still don't fully understand all the ins and outs of it, but I've learned a ton about digital publishing, which I just had no idea about before. So that sort of opened my eyes to a whole new industry.
I mean, I guess it's people might assume that investors are these knowledge of all, but
definitely not.
Maybe not.
Definitely not. I think when I try and invest, I know SaaS, so I know how to build a SaaS product, and I know how to market a SaaS product, and I know how to sell a SaaS product. DesignMyNight has B2C as well, of course. So, I know the ins and outs of sort of SEO and building a sort of media so to speak. So I sort of look at it like that. I'm like, okay, well, if I don't understand the industry, I can learn that. But I understand SaaS, so you can teach me about the industry, and let's learn my principles of building SaaS and sort of put them together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I completely understand that as well. So it's about what you offer. And if you can get a good investment board or a good range of investors, they can all add value in their specialism, really.
Exactly.
Biggest indulgence. Nick Telson, what is your biggest indulgence in life?
Indulgence in life? What, financially?
Take it as you will.
Indulgence. Well, the wishy-washy answer I'd say is time.
Okay.
So, that was one of the things I said to myself, if I'm going to go again, DesignMyNight was 24/7, non-stop, literally holidays, weekends, everything, worked too hard almost on DesignMyNight. So I've afforded myself a lot more time now, and I treasure my time, and it's not all focused on work.
And what do you do with your time?
Learn new skills. So I try and do courses. I was going to say actually financial indulgence, which is linked to this, is sort of in scents, smells. So aftershaves, candles, all of that. So I've done quite a few perfumer courses. So I can sort of I make my own now at home, which I'm not selling. Languages, I love languages. So I'm learning Japanese at the moment. Just trying to do stuff that I love and get better at them, and just giving yourself time just to breathe. So since COVID now, I actually just love going for walks, and I did that obviously COVID every day.
We were talking about this on LinkedIn, weren't we? Every morning you take.
Every morning I'll go for a walk at least. Put on a podcast which is nothing to do with work or business. I'm a big Spurs fan, so it'll often be a Spurs podcast or an audio book. So I'm a really slow reader, so the invention of audiobooks I love. So now I can actually consume books. And again, it will try and be fiction or just, not business focused. Everyone says to me, I bet you listen, always listen to business books. And I'm actually, when I go for a walk or here, I walked here and I put my phone in my pocket, I don't look at it, and I will listen to something that is nothing to do with business. And that is just, I actually adore that. It's better than for me, the gym or anything like that.
Love it. Social media. You said via LinkedIn or via a podcast that you got 70% of your initial leads for Trumpet via your presence, Andrew's presence, Rory's presence online, and the team. What's your view on social media for business?
So I think for business, it's critical. LinkedIn is often sort of the ugly duckling of social media, but for us, it's that's where our customers are, and it's free. It just takes your time. So I loved building, I hate the word, but like a personal brand on LinkedIn. And I've sort of been doing it for like 4 or 5 years now. Met some great people, been introduced to great people. And yeah, a lot of our customers are on there as well. So it gives you credibility as a business, if you've got the following and you can speak with domain experience. But from a personal point of view, I don't have any social media. So no others.
Instagram.
Nothing. So I only have LinkedIn for work, and I don't really share personal stuff. I'm not the person that will share a picture of me and my dog. I don't have a dog, but me and a dog.
I was going to say, you don't need Instagram these days. You've got people posting pictures of their dogs.
It's not my vibe, that at all. So I keep it, I speak my truth on LinkedIn, but about business. So I keep my personal life to myself. No one else needs, my friends and my family know what I'm up to. That's all I care about. So I think that's another way of affording myself time and breathing space, is I don't get wrapped up in social media, which I just think does a lot more harm than good from a personal point of view.
Yeah, I completely understand. I have a number of friends who are doing it in very phased approaches, deleting the Instagrams of this world for a period of time, coming back on, maybe replying, having it a bit, and then deleting it again. Yeah. I really understand that. I mean, for me personally, and you as well, LinkedIn is a necessity.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have done it like Trumpet? Do you think you could have done Trumpet to the same impact that you have today without your presence on LinkedIn?
Probably not. It would have been a lot harder. So, to get the wheels turning, all of that inbound eventually from LinkedIn has helped us grease the wheels of Trumpet. So I think if we didn't have that presence, it would have just gone to traditional outbounds, going to my network. So I'm sure we would have got there, but actually to get the wheels turning quicker, because especially me and Rory had a presence on LinkedIn, it just made the launch of Trumpet a lot easier.
Yeah, and especially, I guess, I don't know what your marketing budget is for Trumpet now, but I suppose it, especially in the early days, didn't need to be as much.
Yeah, I think one of our sales guys, Ali, put a post on LinkedIn the other day. He worked it out for us that the impressions we get as a team, so there's probably like 6 or 7 of us that are very active on LinkedIn on purpose. The impressions we get would have cost us something like 150 grand if we would have gone to an agency or something. And that hasn't cost us anything. So, we've got a marketing budget, but we can do so much with nothing just because of all of our presences on LinkedIn.
And it's just consistency of half an hour a day sometimes.
Consistency, being genuine. Again, we were talking off camera, I can smell a personal branding agency a mile off. Authenticity. People want to know that they're speaking to you, and if there's someone you really admire, but you're not, and you're commenting and you think they're commenting back, but it's their agency, or what's the point really? So, we run our own socials. We don't think about it too much. We're just very genuine. I'll have spelling mistakes in mine. Sometimes I'll be walking and I'll just type out something. And I think people really appreciate the genuine nature of posting.
There's nothing like an engaged audience member calling out your spelling error.
Which then does happen. You're like, okay, thanks. Thanks for
guys.
that. Yeah, cheers.
Should you go all in on your side hustle? So for all those aspiring entrepreneurs out there, should you go all in on a side hustle, or do what you did at DesignMyNight, which was take your time, over time, building it on the side?
I mean, it depends, what financial position you're in. So DesignMyNight, we were young, and Andrew and I needed our salary from our day jobs. So yeah, we did a year of starting DMN while having our jobs. I don't think you need to go all in. I think, actually, give it a go. It's sounds flippant, but it's so much easier to start a business now. And you don't have to spend a fortune. You don't have to put all of your eggs in that basket. So, you know, if it's SaaS, get it going. You can use no-code tools now like Bubble to actually build the product.
100%.
Give it to some people, get them to try it, say would they pay for it, and build it slowly from there. And then, yeah, if you start getting some traction, then you make the jump. D2C, you know, you can get a Shopify account live yesterday. You can get a freelancer on Fiverr to do your branding. You know, so you can get stuff going very quickly. You can do drop shipping now, so you don't have to pay a fortune up front. And again, put it out there, see the reaction. Because then I think that just alleviates the anxiety and stress. Like if you're all in on something and you don't even know if it's going to be successful. And I think that's one of the problems we have is people don't really know how to ideate properly.
Yeah.
So they'll come up with an idea, they think it's the best idea after a day. They've got the brand the next day, and then it's ready to go. But they haven't ideated. You know, we take about 3 months at least when we come up with an idea first to then think, is this a good idea? And that's even before even thinking of a brand name or anything like that. So I think definitely start slow. There's no shame in that. If you get traction, then you can make a bit more of a rational decision.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm completely conflicted on this one. So I went all in my first business, and I suppose my second business as well. But I had done a business for 3-4 years before that. But I do believe in being comfortable, and that's a lot of people go, "Oh, what do you mean by being comfortable?" But I'll be honest, I don't do my best work when I have to worry about the rent being paid. And a lot of entrepreneurs out there, I'm sure they need that pressure, they need that challenge. They thrive in that scenario.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't mind a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I quite enjoy that. And I think I achieved quite good results under that. But being scared about paying the rent is not for me.
And that's it. So it's horses for courses. And don't forget, like, when we're talking about startups and entrepreneurialism, there's so many different avenues of that. You know, I think people just read like TechCrunch and people that are raising tens and 20s and hundreds of millions are successful. But being a founder can be your own little Shopify business that you're making 90 grand a year from. Brilliant. Like that's a wonderful salary. You can live very comfortably off that. It's your own thing. You don't have to answer to anyone. Great. You can have something with a team of 5. You know, not everything has to be venture backed, scale globally, sell for tens of millions, hundreds of millions. So again, there's just lots of different avenues you can go, and especially if you just want to try it out first as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you might have a side hobby of making candles or drawing pictures. As you said earlier, jump on Shopify, take some nice photos, put it against a white background with some good lighting.
Yeah.
These days you can do that on the latest iPhone. You don't need fancy equipment. Put that online, sell them for whatever. And I mean, if you're making 90K a year, it's like triple the average salary in this country. So it's a really damn good business.
Yeah.
But you could do all of that on a weekend.
Yeah. And now with AI and, you know, so there's going to be, you know, even more ways of being able to do stuff quickly, have expertise without actually having the expertise. It's a shame, but you know, that's the way it's going. So I think that will even allow you to do it even quicker and cheaper. So yeah, all the options are open, but yeah, I think you've just got to think as a founder, it's valid whatever your business. You don't have to be this big scalable global company that's in TechCrunch to be a successful founder.
Yeah, 100%. Like they are the 1% of the 1% that you're seeing going on TV or the huge podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what this podcast is all about, is the everyday founder.
Yeah.
It's about actually you're in the 1% if you're just starting your own business.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be celebrated for that.
Yeah.
Networking.
Yeah.
The biggest taboo out there. Everyone hates to say it and loves to do it. What's your view on networking, and how do you do it best outside of the, hey, Nick, how are you? As a cold DM, which I'm sure you get many of.
I hate to talk about it and hate to do it. So
but you do it.
I mean, I don't really go to like networking events. Never really have. It's not really something I enjoy doing. I'm actually quite, you wouldn't believe it, but I'm quite a sort of insular sort of introvert. I can stand on a stage in front of 1,000 people and talk about business without breaking a sweat. But yeah, going into a room and doing like small talk, one-on-one, I'm just like, I just don't enjoy it really. So I just don't put myself in those situations. Again, we were saying off camera, Design My Night, Andrew and I were head down, didn't go to networking events. Meeting other founders wasn't going to help our business. Like we had mentors around us, we had angels around us, we had each other. Unless there were restaurant operators at these networking events, it wasn't going to help us. So I'd rather have spent 2 hours building the business than sort of peacocking in a networking event. So I understand, if you're new to the game and you're a solo founder especially, it's great to have other founders around you. But yeah, it's not something I love. There's also like digital networking and podcasts and stuff. Again, I think it's the same as having like a social presence is drop the guard, be authentic. I say to a lot of especially younger fans I meet is the first thing you need to do is drop your ego. I think if you go into any business as a founder or a scenario with an ego, that ego will rule you and you'll make bad decisions because it's your ego telling you to do that. So, no matter how successful you are or how new you are, if you go to every scenario without an ego and just be very authentic, it's good to be a bit like understand what you want from this. Like, networking can be transactional as well. If you leave a networking event and you haven't got anything out of it to help you, you're not Mother Teresa. You don't have to go to a network event to help everyone. So if you don't come out to help you, then what's the point? So, also be a bit strategic. Think who's going to be there. If there is a list available, or you can see, one of the invite links, think who do I want to go and meet and who do I want to go and talk to. Have a bit of prep ready, what you're going to say. So it's not just, hey, how are you? Oh, God, I really wanted to chat to you. I actually saw your post on LinkedIn about X, Y, Z. Or actually, I was using your business the other day. I really liked this and this.
Try the free demo.
Yeah.
Whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
Power of LinkedIn in there as well, right? One of the best conversation starters is I saw your post or like I interacted with that post.
And that's the same for sales. So, when you do cold outreach, it's not just, hey, nice to meet you, here's Trumpet. It's, oh, actually, you did a post 2 weeks ago that I engaged with and it really resonated with me because X, Y, and Z. That got me thinking I should message you, That instantly drops their guard that you're not just selling to them, even though you are. So, in all walks of life, if you are interested and interesting, then I think you'll make better connections with people.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about relationships then. So being a business owner, being a entrepreneur is quite time consuming, mentally consuming as well. How do you personally maintain healthy relationships or try to maintain healthy relationships off the field?
I think everyone has to be understanding. It's a very selfish game being a founder. So other half, best friends, family, was very much aware of what I was going into. And I think you've just got to be open with them and you're just like, look, if I don't, a best friend or something like, if I can't go to this or if I don't see you, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I have to do this for, at the time, Design My Night. So I think it's another big bit of advice I give to founders before they start is making sure your support network know what you're letting yourself in for, because you have to have the backing of family, friends, loved ones, because as I said, it's very selfish, that becomes your priority and that's very hard for some people to accept. But then again, I was also saying, I don't want to do this forever. I am working towards this goal with Design My Night, to then put us in a better position. And then be in a position like I am now where yes, I'm still doing businesses, but with a lot more time on my hands and doing it in a lot more sort of calm manner. So it's also, what goal are you trying to achieve? And again, you take ego out of it. What I was trying to achieve with Design My Night was financial freedom for my life, with me and my other half, to help my family if they needed it, to help friends if they needed it. So that was always my goal. So telling them that's why I was doing it, and my own personal desire to win at what I do. So but you just got to be open with them. So
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's really not easy.
Completely agree. I think if you are 6 months into your entrepreneurial journey as a young founder, or I suppose any entrepreneurial venture, and you're in a rut, maybe business isn't going as well as you want it to, and that's when you're figuring out who your actual true friends are. It's a very dark place potentially. And I think, as you said, if you kind of prep yourself in the best way, it's not just market research and doing all the right things for you as a business owner, but actually mentally preparing yourself and the loved ones you have around you. You know, if that means you go from a 10-person friendship group or support group to a 5, but you sort of set those guidelines out from the start, you're going to be in a much better position than figuring that out along the way. So yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, it's the same as social media. Like, you don't need 100 friends. You just need 5 or 10 really, really good ones, because you haven't got time to see everyone all the time anyway.
Yeah. So how many of those 100 friends do you actually see
exactly.
like semi-regularly?
So, you know, it's just surround yourself with people that you can help, and that they can help you as well. And, you know, like friendship, loved ones, whoever, it has to be like this mutual beneficial partnership.
Yeah, 100%. So DesignMyNight, the aim for Nick Telson was financial freedom. Trumpet, the next 20 years, you've got a long way to go.
Hope so.
You're a young man. What's next for you? What are your goals?
I think there's the pressure off with Trumpet. Our investors might not agree, but it allows us to operate better. So yeah, financial goals aren't really what I'm gunning for with Trumpet. Rorit's his first one, so maybe more so with him. I wouldn't like to speak for him. For me, it's that desire to win, and that's not an ego thing. It's an internal thing that I can do it again and succeed. Whatever succeeding looks like for Trumpet. So yeah, it's not necessarily, we have to sell it for DesignMyNight levels or sell it for bigger levels. I'm less fussed about that. And I'm more about, okay, can I build another business that our customers love, that sort of changes an industry, and build something of real value. And I'm a big believer in building a sustainable business. So Trumpet, we took VC money, but we're very much building it as if we didn't. So, very focused on getting to profitability, not blowing money, being very careful how we spend it. So, we want to build a sustainable business as well. So yeah, and then beyond that, I try not to think too far in advance. I really don't. You don't know what's around the corner. I'm very much day-by-day person. Trumpet, obviously I've got strategies of where it needs to be. That's different. But personally, day-to-day, I'm just like, can I get through the day? Can the day at least bring me some joy? Some days have more joy than others. And then you go again the next day.
Absolutely. What's your non-negotiable? Non-negotiable at work and non-negotiable at home?
Like counselling.
This is entrepreneurial therapy.
What is my non-negotiable? I think non-negotiable at work has shifted. I like to get to the point. So I think what I try and instill in the team that I directly work with at Trumpet is, let's just get to the point. So let's not have a 45-minute meeting. Let's have a 20-minute meeting and get to the point. If something's wrong, just tell me it's wrong. Let's not fluff around it. Do people think you're blunt if you're going that direction? I think you can come across blunt, but it's something I actually wanted to try. I think I was too far the opposite, and actually Andrew is a lot better at just getting to the point than I ever was. I was always like the very friendly, approachable founder, but I think I've learned you can do both. Sure. Like the team that I work with now know at heart I'm a nice guy. I want the best for them. I want the best for Trumpet. They also know I'm very busy, and it saves them time as well. So I think it's a great skill to be able to learn, is just to get to the point. What are we trying to say? What are we trying to get out of this meeting? As a language student, it's something I always learn in writing. So a great skill in writing is to be able to write something in one paragraph that other people might write in 3 paragraphs. Yeah. It's something I always learn. I remember since A-level was like being condensed in the way you write. And And in my personal life, I think the non-negotiable is balance. So it's I want to be able to, everyone that knows me and loves me and I love in my personal life know that I need that side of them in my life, but I also need this business side for me to be happy as a whole person. So the non-negotiable is understanding that I have joy on both sides of the fence, and that I need both to be sort of a better loving person in my personal life, and also a better founder on the other side.
Balance is hard.
Balance is very hard.
Balance is very hard, but very important. Talking about your loved ones, your husband.
Yeah.
How would he describe you in one sentence? And yes, this is therapy.
How did he describe me in one sentence? I think he would say I am caring, but also very driven.
Nice. Awesome. So final question, final part. Just open conversation, curious about your opinion. Technical ability versus mental ability. What do you think is more important for a entrepreneur, young, old, doesn't matter, to succeed? Do you think it's their technical prowess, or mental resilience? And maybe link it back to yourself. Do you consider yourself a smart individual? Do you consider yourself mentally strong? Over to you.
I think as a founder, and I've said it, I think you need to have one skill that you're very good at, that's relatable in business. I do think that. So whether it's sales or marketing or code or product, or whatever it may be, branding, I think you need to have one that you excel at and that you really enjoy. Yes, as a founder, you have to be everything at the start. But I think if you are excellent at one, that will give you a leg up. So I think you can learn a lot of it on the job. If you think like sales, if you're open to learning the techniques that there are in sales, a lot of it is personality driven with sales. So I don't think it's necessarily like exact technical ability like being an engineer. But then if you have that and not the mental resilience, you won't succeed. So, I have backed some incredible founders that when I met, just blew my mind, with the way they were talking to me. But then actually when the roller coaster starts happening, which inevitably it does for every business, they didn't have the mental resilience, toughness, whatever you want to call it, to see the wood for the trees calm down, think strategically, think how to get through that, and have failed. So I think you need both. But I would really say to a founder, like, just really think hard, no matter how young or old you are, like, what is your one superpower?
And pretty much everyone will have.
Everyone will have one
thing, right?
And they might not know it yet, but actually if they think, and it could be networking,
for sure.
That could be a superpower. So whether it's personality driven, skills driven, educational driven, like, what is your one superpower that, sets you apart from the same person next to you, starting the same company? Really hone in on that. And then, as everyone always says, you then eventually hire the people around you to sort of plug the gaps.
Yeah, I agree. I think one skill, super important, but I think the bit which definitely I see that stands most successful, depending on how I suppose you measure success, but successful entrepreneurs, is that self-discipline, self-determination, all of the self stuff, which I think if you have the ability to be mentally strong and mentally able in that capacity, no entrepreneur is perfect, and a lot of them suffer with everything from anxiety to anything really. But if you can be that mentally strong or mentally able person, I think you do stand in a great position to just accomplish anything you kind of put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And even if you're not that skilled, you then can set your mind to learning that skill better than most.
Yeah.
So I think it's a hard balance, as we were talking about earlier. But for me, I think being mentally sort of technically, yes, but mentally strong.
Yeah, and I think it's the same as like putting, as I said, like if you put your ego aside and you're willing to learn. So even now, I've built a team of over 100. We sold that business. It was software. It was B2C. I've learned a lot. But I've come to Trumpet, and I'm nowhere near as much of a sales expert in my training as Rory, and I ask him every day for tips and hints to learn from him. Same the people I brought in marketing. I've been doing marketing since L'Oreal, but someone younger will know how to sort of optimize TikTok better than I will. So
Sure.
I think you've also still haven't mastered it. So I think you've got to be just open to learn as well as a founder. Like if you have that arrogance, I don't think that's a very good trait either.
Yeah, I know it all won't be successful. Most likely.
Most likely.
Nick Telson, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Everyday Founder. If you haven't already, like or subscribe wherever you are watching or listening to this episode. If you know of an incredible founder that story needs to be shared, then let me know who you would like to see next on The Everyday Founder via the comment section or messaging me on LinkedIn. These episodes are brought to you by Shake Content, your LinkedIn content agency. So please show them support on all socials so that we can keep bringing you amazing guests and sharing their stories on The Everyday Founder.